Tahura yensa kano ye de bemamo. Say Ashashtiana ye call straight into the camp of the National Democratic Congress. Samra Minewuka say there has been a major clash or political showdown between the national chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Asiedu Nketiah no as General Mosquito NFA Education Minister and MP Emma Tamale South Haruna Iddrisu. We baby say major clash and a showdown here leaders mienu ntemi about them. There's a video trending about Haruna Iddrisu thank you to na Asiedu Nketiah say it was just a waste of time. It was something to represent something. There's a video about this. Yabako Shaba.
I recall when President came for his thank you tour, not the other thank you tour, the proper thank you tour of President Mahama. Proper thank you tour of President Mahama as President Flagbearer. What cannot be said, Mr. we can say it. A proper thank you of President Mahama. Not the Nketiah razor one. Not the Nketiah razor one. When President Mahama came for...
So that was Haruna Iddrisu. Said that thank you to Asiedu Nketiah. It's something that is just a waste of time. He sees that it was just something to represent something, or China just said for him or to him that thank you tour was just a flop. It was a curtain raiser. It was more or less like on one kasana sani campaign kakakabi ene na minchanya na oye na thank you to Papa Biana Asiedu Nketiah. So that is coming from the Minister for Education Haruna Iddrisu. There has been a major clash between General Mosquito. Yet also in the same story. Some may they say Nketiah ababe kasa or no say or try na say that reforms the National Democratic Congress prior to the 2024 elections. It was the advice he gave to the president of the land, President John Dramani Mahama. Or try not to say or no ka say yenyi Haruna Iddrisu in Sinchen yenyi munta kan Sinchen, so that we'll be able to reform the party in ways that will help them to win the 2024 election. So coming from Asiedu Nketiah, trying to say he gave that advice. So he's not just the national the chairman to the party, but then he's acting as an advisor, as a coach to the party. And this advice, or the President John Dramani Mahama, it really helped. That is why the country saw that victory, and the party NDC saw that victory in the 2024 election.
Who should be the minority? We got over that time. Then new things were emerging. And I said that we have to change the forward line of parliament. Otherwise, it will be difficult for us to win elections. President Mahama disagreed with me. But I said that, look, you have elected me as chairman of this party. I am the coach of the party going into the election. So let me make the changes that will win us the election. When we win, we all enjoy together. Since I made that change, I say, my brother Haruna, sit somewhere. The other guy, Muntaka, you also sit somewhere. Let people come, new people come, and you sit on the bench and watch. There was hell. And people started thinking that somebody who has been my friend for more than 20 years has certainly become my enemy. I said, how can Haruna become my enemy? He cannot become my enemy. But I am a coach, and I must watch how our opponents are playing, so that I also arrange my things for us to be able to win. When we did the arrangement, we went into the election. The victory that NDC got in 2024, have you seen any such victory in Ghana since the beginning of the Fourth Republic? We won. After winning, I told President Mahama that we cannot ignore Muntaka and Haruna in the setting up of our government. So they need to be given big positions. President Mahama agreed, and they gave them big positions. And we are working together. So if you are in Tamale here, and you are forming groups, Haruna group, Asiedu Nketiah group, and so on, it is not our case. It is your case in Tamale here. It's not us. Because we are working together. And so, Chief, I just came to thank you and to assure our followers that NDC will continue to be one. There will be struggle for positions. There will be times people will be angry, others will be smiling. But at the end of the day, when we are struggling for things, we must make sure that the vehicle we are traveling in together will remain intact. Don't let us carry our differences in ways that will destroy the NDC vehicle that keeps us in power. So I want to thank you very much. I want to thank the good people of Tamale South and appreciate the work you have been doing, and we are going to do more in the coming elections. Thank you, and may God bless Haruna.
So that was the chairman for the National Democratic Congress. Ultra said, already, only Haruna Iddrisu near Simbia. In fact, ono kwa recommend they say after say NDC winning President John Dramani Mahama on reinstate omo na ni advice or demand President John Dramani Mahama Carter say they should be given a very huge position as I made Haruna Iddrisu education minister. So for him, he does not have any issue or any problem with Haruna Iddrisu, and then there is just one party. There's no division. Into your mom come or Tamale say there is Asiedu Nketia faction and an Haruna Iddrisu faction. For him, he knows nothing like that, and he knows one party. So to him, there is just one party. So that was the major clash between Asiedu Nketia and Haruna Iddrisu. Haruna Iddrisu, a throwback class say, thank you to Asiedu Nketia call after Mahama call. For him, there was a flop. There was no need for him to do that thing, and then he didn't see the necessity in what he did. And he said, he's not just acting as a chairman to the National Democratic Congress. Nemo Azazo your coach the party. Now through the advice and President John Dramani Mahama, Eddie Haruna Iddrisu ni muntakasi in chain na ebwa for the victory they saw in 2024. So to him, he has no issue with Haruna Iddrisu. In this same issue, there has been a release, or there has been an information that has been passed by the Executive Director of Global Information Analytics, as Musa Dankwa. Musa Dankwa Nipu Sayoya and I say research or it's more or less like what he says, it actually comes to pass. Let's see on your you see Ghanaians want solution, not thank you to us. Apia Dankwa to NDC. So this is from Apia Dankwa Ultra say Ghanaians want solution and yet thank you to at all. And this same issue around this whole thing, and Musa Dankwa, the Executive Director of the Global Info Analytics, also adding research about Beton Mountain. So Ultra say as now Ghana has a party say anka NDC for a project some candidate. These are the percentages Onususu said per his research no they'll be getting if they are to go into elections. So or when they are NDC delegates and the delegates of the National Democratic Congress no, this is what they are saying. So according to Musa Dankwa or Chana Chese the delegates of the National Democratic Congress no, he has 19% of them and Asiedu Nketiah has 29%. He went on to mention a number of them: Haruna Iddrisu, Jena Nopekwa and all that. Video So in the same video, the Global Info Analytics executive director, Musa Dankwa, he highlighted a number of people, and in the National Democratic Congress, it's more or less like they are seen, or in the coming days, we'll be seeing that they'll be showing their headset. They want to contest for Flagbearer. And I know the research, in relation to the delegates of the National Democratic Congress, this is what he sees, or this is the outcome of his research. Video number.
Asiedu Nketiah is leading the pack when everybody is contesting. He's around 29% of support of delegates. So I'll give you this data in terms of delegate and also in terms of the general voters. So we can see where people are headed. Now, he's on 29%. And Atiforsin on 19%. Haruna Iddrisu on 11%. Iddrisu on 8%. Jenana 8%. Someone else or others 1%. But 24% said they are undecided. Now, you can see that nobody can win this race without forming alliances. Because of where the race stands. Nobody is above one-third when everybody is involved. Now, when you say that, okay, let's do head-to-head, when nobody else is contesting, or assuming we've gone to a first round and there's no clear winner, and Asiedu Nketiah comes face-to-face with Haruna Iddrisu, how would you vote? The delegates are telling us at the moment that they will vote for Asiedu Nketiah by 42%. Haruna Iddrisu by 22%. But a chunk, about 36% said they are undecided. So these guys who are undecided will play a very key role in who becomes the NDC flag bearer. And the interesting thing is, and that's where I think Asiedu Nketiah must be very, very careful, or not just him, anybody who wants to contest, because nobody can win this election on his own. From the data. Now, if you take Haruna Iddrisu against Asiedu Nketiah head-to-head, you want to see the behavior of Jenana supporters, delegate, the behavior of Atiforsin's delegate, the behavior of the delegate, when they're no longer in the race. And this is where your utterances and action towards each of these guys is very important. But I have said that you can't win without alliances.
You shouldn't be hostile.
You shouldn't be hostile.
Or be seen to be hostile.
So in that case, you can see that, look, 41% of Jenana's delegate will go to Asiedu Nketiah. 29% will go to Haruna Iddrisu. And 30% say they are undecided. So up for grab.
Okay.
When you go to Atiforsin's people, 34% said they will vote for Asiedu Nketiah, or 33% Asiedu Nketiah, but 34% for Haruna. And around 33% said they are undecided. So these two people, if they happen to be the people who are going to contest for head-to-head, you must know how you treat the other guy. You see, so this data is giving you...
So the takeaway headline here is that General Mosquito is the man to beat in the flag bearer race.
Yes. Now, when you come
he's in the lead. He's not a comfortable lead, but he's in the lead.
Now, he leads...
In all the polls
he leads Haruna by about 20 points. Now, when you come to Atiforsin, he leads by only 5 points.
Okay.
Because Atiforsin is 32%, and Asiedu Nketiah is 37%.
Okay.
Now, it is important to know this behavior. Let's see this. Of the people who are voting for Asiedu Nketiah to get his 37%, includes 29% of Haruna Iddrisu delegates.
Okay.
So if you antagonize Haruna Iddrisu and these guys pool their support, you will not be on 37.
So there has to be an alliance, a deliberate alliance.
Absolutely. So this data must be guiding these people.
Okay, so that is coming from the executive director of the Global Info Analytics, Musa Dankwa. Musa Dankwa, per his research, say ye present candidates and based on what the delegates of the National Democratic Congress are saying, these are the percentages. Or say according to him, Asiedu Nketiah, General Mosquito on the Benya 29%, Atiforsin Benya 19%, Haruna Iddrisu Benya 11%, Julius Debra 8%, Jenana 8%, and I feel 24% of the delegates they are not decisive as to whether one will call for Asiedu Nketiah and one will call for another candidate. So in fact, over here also they advise they are there to draw our choice for any of them to win. No, most often and unless they form alliances, the delegates almost supporting each of these candidates. No, they have to be very careful about their utterances and how they relate to the public and all that. So that is coming from Musa Dankwa, the executive director of the Global Info Analytics. This particular man, most often, no, I am research. No, Ghanaians have seen say sometimes it has chances of coming to pass. So that is coming from Musa Dankwa, the executive director of the Global Info Analytics. So moving on to Nsemfo from say to also Nsemfo from some media and Krana the finance minister of Ghana Keso Atuforsen Edebeto Ghana for name says some media Ghana for IMF and so bailouts we were celebrating all over and Ghana for Bebreni J so okay at long last after 3 years of going to IMF finally we are coming out successful. Sanse Mwemuna, the first gentleman of the land, President John Dramani Mahama or in Summer Beton Mountain so say in fact they have to be jubilating, but they won't do like the others at major milestone Kenke party. So for him it is a major milestone, but he sees it as a work in progress. Young video Auditor Mountain. So
program was in danger of derailment, and so in the first quarter after we took over, we had to take some stringent action to bring the program back into alignment and bring it back on track. And I'm happy to report that we're able to do that. The first mission that came approved the program, the second mission approved it, and the final mission just left Ghana last week, and they have given us a satisfying mark for performance. It's now going to the board, and the board will release the last of $380 million to support the Ghanaian economy. But we're not going to have a Kenke party because we believe that it is still work in progress. Unlike others who left the IMF and held Wache and Kenke parties, happy to be free from the IMF, we are not doing that because we know that our economy still needs a lot of work to be done.
So that is the first gentleman of the country, President John Dramani Mahama. Yes, it's true that Ghana has left IMF finally after 3 years. We are on IMF bailout, but they are not going to hold a Kenke party like the previous government did or hold a Wache party. For them, they are seeing it as a work in progress, and they are hoping that this is actually going to be the last time Ghana as a country be called IMF. So there is one in Zambia. President John Dramani Mahama said, we won't hold a Kenke party. Or say on your screen, you see IMF exit. We won't have a Kenke party like the others did. President John Dramani Mahama. So coming from President John Dramani Mahama, I'll try to say for them as a country, they are not going to have a Kenke party like a previous government. So that's more or less like a straight bullet to the previous government. Yes, they are happy that finally they've come out of IMF, but they are not there to host a Kenke party, but they see it as a work in progress. Almost said there is more they can do as a country. There's so much they can do to enhance the economy or to improve the economy. In the same issue, your friend Ibrahim Al-Hassan, president of EEEII network, excellence in broadcasting network, or also we should let politicians know that any future government that takes us back to IMF will be voted out. So coming from Ibrahim Al-Hassan, president of EEEII or China, the government be of a sign called IMF. Yes, our government no was say to abatian and the ding. So far as you feel IMF inside it, we are not supposed to go back there. So coming from Ibrahim Al-Hassan, head of political desk EEEII network, and also Ede Nano Atumu. We are still at the camp of the president of the country, the first gentleman of Ghana, President John Dramani Mahama. Or the Assembly of Abeton Mountain, so say, or not there. sanka those times na oshas ye call school no nanka STEM and STEAM e wo ho denden ti sese ne ye hu no ne de anka ono de anka obere engineer pa na okaya those times no say oko class and as oko school na say teacher bed na also 91 51 and no kra ma ni yem hye no as far as mathematics is concerned. That is why he decided to venture into the arts and humanitarian industry near there. So or the assembly about betuja yen konkoshemra.
Let us ship 18 times 24. Is it a ship? I mean, you just scare the child. The child. How can a child learn mathematics in that kind of atmosphere? But that is how we grew up. And so if I drifted to the arts and humanities, it was only natural because I was traumatized by the way it was taught. Today, our children have a better opportunity. Maybe if there was STEM at the time I was in school, I might now be a civil engineer or I'll be, you know, a mechanical engineer or something. But at that time, we used to do mental. They'll come with a ship, you know. 9 times 9, 9 times 9, 9 times 9, ship. 18 times 24, is it a ship? I mean, you just scare the child. The child. How can a child learn mathematics in that kind of atmosphere? But that is how we grew up. And so if I drifted to the arts and humanities, it was only natural because I was traumatized by the way it was taught. Today, our children have a better opportunity.
So coming from the first gentleman of the land, President John Dramani Mahama, and Ochre said, Sanka those times na nko school no na nka STEAM ye very active and effective and kono de anko ohun is anko obey engineer, either civil engineer or mechanical engineer. But okaya that time na nka oko class na the teacher beto no na mathematics teacher especially was 9 plus 9 times 9 when timi enyi na chese no so all those things were, you know, scaring him and all that. So indirectly he's trying to say that everything about STEAM, it has to be decentralized and it has to be promoted, it has to be enhanced. So more of our kids and our basic school kids venturing into the space of STEAM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics near the idea. So coming from the president of the land, President John Dramani Mahama, there is a post to this effect. I will say with STEAM education there, it has to be decentralized, it has to be enhanced. As on your screens, you'll see our idea is to democratize STEM and decentralize it so that every child can have the opportunity to learn science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So coming from the president of the land, Ochana said in their act or in their bid to reset the country, they are not going to joke with STEM education at all. They are going to project it so much that every child will be interested, and as it will be lucrative enough more. Akolabia bit me akase, medium person me science, person me venture into robotics, me person me math, me person me say. So that is coming from the president of the country. So in their bid to, you know, strengthen their or to do their research and all that, they are going to strengthen STEM education so that we'll have a lot of our kids in schools with the ideas to venture into the area of STEM. And that is that. Yeah, to also concern from one some media. Something is trending on the media about Nketiah who happens to be a prominent journalist, or also a communicator, or also a media personality. Now we all know that he has some sort of affiliation as far as the National New Patriotic Party is concerned as a party. Some way there, the good news coming from his quarters is that wakwa bargain master's degree USA wababedru Ghana enya sem ketwa kra, a whole lot of jubilation here and there. Obedru Accra International Airport no, there was so much jubilation. Yankoshe kwanya obedru ye. So, yeah, to also concern from one Sam Radio at the camp of Okatiche Free Mensa, how we all know him as a media personality, a journalist, you know, affiliated to the New Patriotic Party. The good news we are hearing from his end is that Sam Radio wakwa bag masters in law at University of Connecticut, USA. On the verge of him arriving at Accra International Airport, you could see a whole lot of jubilation, a lot of motor riders on the scene to celebrate with him because Okatiche Free Fadie, some media, with free USA about, he didn't come empty-handed. He came with a badge master's in law degree. It's not an easy thing at all. So coming from the camp of Okatiche Free Fa, there is a video to confirm how he arrived at the airport and the jubilation around it. Yanko Shemra.
SM Nigeria, that's what I was on my mirror. Yet, I'm a mirror who is a affair. My moon said, a dumb baby and need them. So, sir, met me a baby pa, above Brapebi, na in Chima, Irons and a whole among. Bronica says it bestows on me a sense of responsibility. So, responsibility in the other Mekuamon, maybe going to the Busamo question met me a yeni. That's my husband, don't be brave, a pemasam, no more domia, then me free by beer, but no more mobile Bishamnoa. They met me a cancer, me show Biabo. I said, I'm a trading upon an animal. Said you met me a year, we are Sibia, Diabuadasa, a jedimpa at all, and no anamaye. The beer no mayor, and many panenergy mayor. And one met me at all. So they make an person. At every given point when the people call me to serve, I shall serve. And I shall serve not for my own benefit. But don't do no, nipa don't do no. Nketiah make us say, yeah, na nan ko bia hene. Ah, wono ya aguna man hene ko bia hene. Ana ya tu no bofo so omra no magime efa me nko. Na sabio se na nanu mo etira si tu bofo so omra no magime efa me mra aguna. Eje bio no mbeka chem se menya amenye. Eye som na me dem ba wi aso me se meso na menim ya me twedi ampona na etutu manamo. Eri se sa kire fo se me mra na me mra meso a. Many of come in the mobile for the Emma. I said, I can't phone. And I said, what I said, you're rap for. I'm a penny for. I'm Papa for. I'm so wide. I'm saying, I'm a brother, I'm a Shama, a Ghana. I'm a Ghana. I'm about Ghana Chrono. Now, about Ghana Chrono. I'm a penny for Flagbearer 2008. Wo fra ban mu no wan mu na ba ban mu o mo so man pani ku for from for yes sir o man pani ku for fra ban mu 2008 wo fra ban mu no ye wura ya wo te so John Dramani Mahama no ye vice president of the government babesi so who read the constitution of the republic. The constitution is very clear say aban be free so na president bia di bone we are there we are man sika. Sir, abiding within 3 years, Asiedu Nketiah court. It is a war on my penny for your crown for on my penny for my chrono. Nasa will buy it. When you are Tamils in the buy, now you're vice president then. Now, my team for now court within 3 years, I'm Angelina Munim Jansen. Now, a Yanama Basabia, a member now cost one, a month for the Tias, a doom son was about. A member can come, a woman. Nancy, a couple be near the back at us 20 years, depending what time. Now, we won't pay attention to that. We are going to pay attention to the very pertinent issues that borders the people. A common for that is the issues we are going to discuss. I'm a penny for TV chairman, I want TV chairman. And on a Fadumsa Bahobay. I'm a penny for TV chairman, I want TV chairman. And for a Bank of Ghana, a car Bahobay. So we will not allow anybody to divert attention with this unnecessary conversation. We will decide the pace what we will discuss in the next time. Omo ye PNDC for and omo dani omo be ye NDC. Na aboa no awro ne hugu wo, aboa tie awro ne hugu no ofa eye honam fofofra wasisa. Onsisa. Wo mo nteka bi ma menka bi na ase. Or might be a freedom of speech, a freedom of praise. Freedom of speech is not freedom of praise. No matter how uncomfortable you are, Sasabio Obiaka Samina Deno. Sausu Kabima Kabia Tumwa. Where Metia if you just a trace. And I'm saying, Metia, Mayor said, Maya sent over here near the Anubi Omega, Pima. Now, so Minya Momina Mefmassem. It is Obika Sam Nayamido. Samikas Media da Sanimu Quadia. Yes, Sabio once see what's on to me, mine. Normally, when you are teaching Nipana, divert your attention, may say, Babak. What we are going to do is that we will not allow them to set the pace for any conversation. We will decide the conversations we will have. Thank you.
So that was Nketiah Efrifa as Sam Radio. Wababe drew Ghana. He didn't come empty-handed. Wakako bag law degree. In master's in law degree if the University of Connecticut United States of America and Krofoko Airport Omoniaje and all that. And then he disclosed that for now that he's in the country, once he's called on to do anything in relation to humanity, he's here to serve. He's not just here for his good people, etc., but he's here for Ghana as a country. Now, he also reacted to some of the things the current government or the government of the day is doing in relation to arresting some people and party supporters. His party, the New Patriotic Party supporters, are, on the media and all that, they saying one thing or the other. He reacted to it that you have to have everybody has the freedom of speech. So for him, he does not support what the government is doing at all. It's more or less like governments no constructive feedback. I know be government be they have to go for him or her. So for him, he's here to serve the good people of Ghana and to serve humanity. Now, Obia friend say, maybe that is related to humanity. No, he's here to help. So that is coming from the camp of Nketiah Efrifa, Sam Radio. And he has gone to bag a master's in law degree. USA, now his supporters and people that love him, well wishers and family and all that came to welcome him to Ghana and to share some happy moments with him because he's going to bag law degree. Now Ghana has said you cry LLB small cry, so they are very happy for him. He claims that so he didn't know people love him so much. And people, admire and cherish him for them to stop whatever they are doing. Say, Omobabe or Kamen or Accra International Airport. And they so or bra. Matren no so mo bia ana magana ni bia na ne supporters bia ense form you be bia aboa humanity you be bia aboa the political party you be bia aboa nyame adwuma de obeye aboa. So that is that about Nketiah Efrifa Sam Radio. Ne ni Japan ne fans ni age family members ni age people from Secretariat so omweni age in relation to the comeback of Nketiah Efrifa, not just coming as an ordinary citizen, but coming as someone who has gone to bag a master's in law, not in Ghana, but in USA, United States of America. So that's coming from transfer consent from Sam Radio. It's a warning people are giving to the first gentleman of the country, President John Dramani Mahama. He has to be careful with his association with the president of France, Emmanuel Macron. They can't trust him. He has to be very careful with people from the West. They don't mean people Africans any good, so they have to be. He has to be very careful. Ibrahim Traore can post the manual to me say the supporters at the manual to me John Dramani Mahama. They see you have to be careful. Look, these people from the West, they are not people you can trust. They actually do not mean black people anywhere. Anywhere, so they are just there to know claim or get what they want from you. That is that from it. So they were trying to tell John Dramani Mahama to be wary of his engagement with the French President Emmanuel Macron. There has been a number of engagements with President John Dramani Mahama with France. So on your screens, this is something coming from the foreign minister or celebrating something. And the French president, in relation to ne connection and as a new relationship with the president of our country, John Dramani Mahama. So on your screen, he says that President Mahama commends French President Emmanuel Macron on his announcement this week to work with Ghana to establish a Ghana-French Scientific Commission on Slavery in Ghana. Also for his pledge to abolish slavery laws known as Code Noir, his new policy on the return of looted artifacts, and his impressive commitment to an open and honest dialogue on reparatory justice. It's for Bekaya and saying there it's more or less that Ghana has been jubilating on this reparatory issues. Some parts of the Western world, they are beginning to understand or come to terms with it, that it's something that has to be done, because foreigners nearby in the time of previously they came to loot our country and take some very things that are for our country. So this is coming from Okijeto Ablakwa. Our church said this connection between the France presidents and then the president of our land, President John Dramani Mahama, is just in the right direction, because after all, France also are asserted to the fact that this reparatory justice is something that is very important and it's in the right direction. So the government of Ghana additionally applauds President Macron for accepting President Mahama's invitation to speak at the Next Step Summit in Reparatory Justice in Accra from June 17 to 19, 2026. So the government of Ghana, they are just applauding the President of France. Say, Wajiatumu say on the 19th to 17th to 19th of June next month, one family said he is going to be a speaker at the Next Steps Summit on Reparatory Justice. It's great to see the concrete results of the historic adoption of the Ghana-led UN resolution declaring the transatlantic enslavement of Africans as the gravest crime against humanity. So this is Ghana confirming that it is in the right direction. Say countries like France, they are understanding or they are coming to terms with the fact that the enslavement of Africans was something that was out of place, or something that was worse to humanity, was all against humanity. There is a release from the Foreign Ministry about this same issue on reparatory. I say, Accra, 23rd May 2020. So the government of the Republic of Ghana warmly welcomes France's decision to work with Ghana on reparatory justice for the transatlantic enslavement of Africans, as announced this week by the President of France Republic, His Excellency Emmanuel Macron, during an event to commemorate the 25th anniversary of France's law declaring slavery a crime against humanity. So this is Ghana jubilating, because now the French president is now coming to terms. So it's more or less like there's that relationship that is building between the two presidents, and then the France president has come to terms with it. So this reparatory issue, I mean, it wasn't the best. So President John Mahama commends President Emmanuel Macron for the honest, open, conciliatory and exemplary leadership on this consequential matter. So this is our president of the land trying to commend the president of France for understanding that this issue on reparatory justice it is something that something has to be done about. So the government of Ghana looks forward to working with France on a proposed Ghana-France Scientific Commission to be established in Ghana. So this is a collaboration between the two countries, France and then Ghana. So there has been that collaboration that we are looking forward to establish a France Scientific Commission. So it means that somewhere it's more or less like Ghana and France. They are beginning to strengthen their ties and then to work on issues that are of interest to the two countries. The Ghanaian president expresses gratitude to President Macron for accepting his invitation to address the Next Steps high-level conference on reparatory justice in Accra, scheduled for 17 to 19 June 2026. So this is our President John Dramani Mahama appreciating or showing gratitude for the President of France, affirming that 17 to 19 June he will be in Ghana for them to